Please be seated. I'm pleased to introduce Captain Art Recker, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, Naval Justice School.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome to all of our friends and family who are joining us. This is, I'm assuming, the first time you've had a son, daughter, a loved one who has graduated at the Naval Justice School. But when I got here last summer, we were not able to do open graduations because of the pandemic. So I think this is only our third graduation ceremony since 2019 that has been open. And so I'm just so thankful that you're able to be here. And I want to tell all of those friends, family, and loved ones how much we appreciate you, you and the support you provide to our students. We ask them to do hard things, long hours, challenging assignments, and they can't do it without your support. The care packages you send, the text messages with memes of the little cat hanging on the branch saying you can do it, the cookies, the late night phone calls. It's so important to our ability to do what we do. And so I want to say thank you. To our students of BLC 23010 and LSSC 1 TAC 23, I want to say congratulations. When I met you back in January, I said, I want you to have hopes and dreams and I want to be part of your story. And in just a few minutes, with us handing you your certificate of completion, you're going to be Navy and Marine Corps legal professionals. And now we're part of your story. So congratulations. And since it's the last time I get to talk to you, because in a few minutes, you're not going to be students of this class, I want to remind you, NJS is your home. You're going to come back here. Maybe as a student, maybe as an instructor, maybe 2 times, maybe 10 times. But I want you to always remember your home here at NJS. And again, congratulations. And then finally, I'm going to ask you, students, to recognize that the team at NJS is very committed to you. The facilities, admin, IT, education department, and of course, all of your great instructors. They're really the best in the business, and they work almost around the clock, maybe not quite around the clock, but definitely year round to constantly invest in you and improve the education you receive here. So if you appreciate the NJS team, please give me a brief round of applause for all your instructors and staff members. All right. This is a great day. It's my first chance to do a graduation with Admiral Crandall, and I get to introduce him. And you have his biographies, and I know you can all read because that's the first thing we test here. But I'll just sort of highlight for our BLC students what we have been training you to do the last 10 weeks. Military justice, civil law, and national security law. If you look at his biography, that's what you see there. From his first tour as a judge advocate, doing trial counsel, defense counsel, and civil law department head, through a career working through all of the national security law. I know some of you told me that you really love the national security law block of instruction. Watch that career progression from a ship's command judge advocate to a numbered fleet, a COCOM advising the vice chief, and then the chief of naval operations, serving on the National Security Council and as staff, as legal counsel to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Whatever it was that you loved about the last 10 weeks, He has done that. So I'm hoping that you're as excited to hear from him as I am. And for our LSSC students, he has sort of a unique perspective with all of those joint assignments, having had the opportunity to work with and get to know 4421s over the course of his career. And then in his last assignment as Commander Naval Legal Service Command, for 3 years, he was the immediate superior of the Naval Justice School. So probably better than any Navy judge advocate. He knows what it means to attend the Legal Service Specialist course and what it means to become a 4421. He's never said this, so I'm not sure it's true, but I like to think that he loved the Naval Justice School so much that when he became JAG, he took us with him and realigned us from CNELS up to OJAG. It's my pleasure and privilege to introduce the 45th Judge Advocate General of the Navy, Vice Admiral Del Crandall.
I think you might be reading a little too much into the realignment of NJS, but no, happy to have NJS under the OJAG mantle. Good morning. It's a beautiful, brisk morning here in Newport. Really happy to be here with so many family and friends, some of whom are attending virtually. Thanks for joining us today. I think what I'd like to share off script at this point with the LSSC is I spent a summer as a midshipman on board a submarine. And it was when I was in ROTC. It was after my freshman year. So it's your summer to understand what enlisted sailors go through day to day. So I spent that 13 weeks as an enlisted person, living up in forward cruise berthing, had to hot rack. That means like share your rack with somebody else because we had too many people. So 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I had a field day station of the forward cruise head. I cranked in the galley for a week and stood watches that all other enlisted submariners stand. And the point of that summer is to understand, because you're hopefully training to get a commission and be an officer in one of our armed services, is to understand what we ask of our enlisted Marines and enlisted sailors, because to be effective leader of Marines and sailors, you need to understand what you're asking of them every day. So I think that's probably the place where I feel most akin to you as you prepared now to be legal professionals. And I'm really excited to welcome you to the ranks of legal professionals across the Navy and Marine Corps. All right, enough ad-libbing, but I'm going to be doing a little bit more of that. Typically, I have like a multi-page speech and I kind of read from it. But today I'd like to share some thoughts I have on a number of cards here, as well as share some photos with you that I inspire me and I hope is going to inspire everyone here today. So let's go ahead and get started. I echo what Captain Record said. Congratulations. This is a really important step for you in your legal professional careers in the Navy and the Marine Corps. Really, it's a welcome today to the Naval Sea Services legal team. So welcome to that team. I also want to pass on greetings from the SJA to the Commandant, the Staff Judge Advocate to the Commandant, Major General Dave Bly, as well as our DJAG, Rear Admiral Chris French, Commander of Naval Legal Service Command, Admiral Dave Wilson. And we've got other judge advocates who are flag officers in the Navy and Marine Corps. General Scott Woodard and Admiral John Stevens are our newest flag officers representing our communities. They are the lead special trial counsels for the Navy and Marine Corps, respectively. And we also have a naval officer who is serving as a flag officer, and that's Admiral Aaron Rue, who is the chief prosecutor at the Office of Military Commissions. So a great goal all of you to set as you look forward. Lots of opportunities to move up all the way to the top. In fact, when Captain Record was talking about coming back here and teaching someday, one of you could very well be standing in my place someday, helping this next class in the future graduate. So I look forward to that. This is a big group, 24 Navy judge advocates, 29 Marine judge advocates, 35 legal services specialists out of 36. It's an incredibly high graduation rate. So I congratulate you and your class because it takes all of you working together to accomplish such an incredible success rate for your group this year. All right. The opportunity we have in the Sea Services is a unique one. It's a chance to practice law as a focused and dynamic team, one with a mission and purpose that's greater than ourselves, which really brings the reward to what we do. You got here in early January, mid-January, and you were a set of unique individuals who probably didn't know each other very well. Today, you leave as a tightly knit legal community. But remember, we serve our nation in two professions, the profession of arms and the profession of law. And that's what really makes us unique. Together, we're serving our Navy and our Marine Corps at an absolutely critical time. And what do I mean by that? We are facing a series of potential adversaries across the globe that want to challenge the international world order and our leadership in that order in a free and democratic world. So I'm talking about Russia invading Ukraine and increasingly aggressive actions by nations such as China in the Indo-Pacific area of responsibility. They are attempting to reshape the world order, and it's helping us reset our national security priorities in real time. So what is we are asked as a Navy and a Marine Corps to play an absolutely pivotal role in this era of strategic competition. Here's what the Secretary of the Navy has said. His strategic guidance to all of us in the Department of the Navy states that our most significant long-term challenge is that posed by China. And he identifies the top priority in his One Navy Marine Corps team as operating and developing capabilities that bolster deterrence and expand our warfighting advantages vis-a-vis China. Both the Commandant of the Marine Corps and the CNO have shared similar sentiments. The CNO's navigation plan reminds us that we are a maritime nation. Our security, our stability depends on the seas. Just one example, almost 90% of all global commerce travels across the oceans. Almost all traffic on the internet is carried by undersea cables, right? Yet China and Russia are both rapidly modernizing their militaries to challenge us, our allies, and our partners. And the Navy must focus on its ability to control the seas and project power during any future conflict. The Commandant underscores this, the key role that the Marine Corps has as a naval expeditionary force capable of deterring malign behavior, facilitating sea denial in support of fleet and joint force operations. One of my own priorities for the JAG Corps is to shape and advance maritime policy, because uniformed judge advocates are key to countering adversaries and their inconsistent claims with regard to international law. Right? We need to push back against that false narrative and safeguard the freedom of the seas. We need to make sure that we can operate, fly, sail anywhere international law allows. And it's important that we all take this on board as an all-hands effort. Judge advocates and other legal professionals in our community, like legal support specialists and our legal men on active duty, support in so many different ways. We're supporting staff judge advocates across the fleet, unit commanders who need good legal advice, especially when they're assigned overseas, involved in multilateral and international exercises and operations. And we support, even in academia, writing articles to ensure that the correct narrative is shared across the globe. Daily interactions by all legal professionals, everyone sitting in this room. Bottom line, it's not just those operational commands and their support staffs that have to be well-versed in the legal framework that underpins the free and open world we want today. Every one of us has to be a part of that. All right. So what I'd like to do now is move back and on my cards, because I want to share some photos with you that I think inspire me, and I hope are going to inspire you and our families and friends gathered today. Why do I to do that. I talked up front how we're members of two professions, the profession of law and the profession of arms. That makes us unique from our civilian counterparts. So let's explore how some of you, as you set out on your careers, are going to have a very different career than those you might have gone to law school with or those you might have gone to college and high school with. So with that, I'd like to bring up the first slide. All right, here we go. RIMPAC. It's a huge exercise, Rim of the Pacific exercise. It took place in the summer of 2022. Navy, Marine Corps, foreign counterparts participating in the world's largest maritime exercise off the coast of Hawaii. And so what we have there are 3 Navy judge advocates, 2 Marine Corps judge advocates, and 2 judge advocates from the Republic of Korea, from South Korea. The Navy judge, one's a trial counsel, one's from the DIA headquarters, Defense Intelligence Agency headquarters, and others a base staff judge advocate who participated in that exercise. As far as the 2 Marines, one is an operational attorney, but the other one was a deputy SJA at a Marine Corps base. So there are opportunities for every one of you sitting in this room to participate in something like the largest exercise. Involved over 30,000 U.S. forces, multiple units, 27 countries. Really important to send a message to our allies and partners across the Indo-Pacific region that we are there to support. Also sends a message to China that we are ready tonight. And so they really should think twice and not think about going to war with us or any of our allies and partners. All right, next slide. Here we had the promotion of a lieutenant, 2 lieutenants, from Lieutenant JG being promoted. She is stationed in the Midwest at Great Lakes, but she's being promoted on board an aircraft carrier, the mighty Eisenhower. Katrina Salazar. She was getting a sea familiarization time on board the Eisenhower. The promotion notice came out, and she asked the strike group commander, a Navy 1-star, to promote her in the hangar bay. You can see some aircraft kind of sort of in the background there while she was at sea. And that could be you on your first tour. All right, next slide. All right, I've got some legal services specialists here. We've got the instructors at the promotion of Staff Sergeant Anderson. As I mentioned, we have to do this as a team. Judge advocates alone will not meet the legal mission for the Navy and the Marine Corps. It takes our legal services specialists, it takes our legal men, and it also takes civilian professionals who work for the Department of the Navy to make this happen. And so I want to recognize the role of legal service specialists here today. All right, next slide. SJA's underway. So on the top left there, you have Lieutenant Commander Kyle Dougherty Peters on the bottom right of that photo and his legal team. We've also got his mini judge, his number 2 on that aircraft carrier. They're on board the Harry S. Truman at sea, helping our allies and partners in the European area of responsibility understand we are there to stand with them should Russia's war in Ukraine spread across the borders to our NATO allies. So these are actual flight operations being undertaken in the Mediterranean in support of our allies last summer. In the bottom right, you have a Lieutenant Commander Elizabeth Kiesling, who is serving as a strike group judge advocate, advising the commander of a strike group. That's that 1-star or 2-star who's in charge of all operations on board a carrier and the air wing associated with carrier operations, as well as the surface units attached. And she is getting familiarization with an F-18. She's not actually flying the F-18. That only happens in television, but she had an opportunity to meet with the squadrons and learn a lot about the aircraft. All right, next slide. This is a typical operations and planning review. This one took place on board USS Tripoli, a large deck amphibious vessel. It's a Navy Marine Corps team planning an upcoming operation in the Philippines to move Marines from ship to shore via LCACs. And while there might not necessarily be a judge advocate in the room or picture in this picture, there's probably one on the planning team who is helping make this happen. Why this slide? Another reminder that the blue-green team is the way we are going to defeat our adversaries in the future, and we need to stand strong together. All right, next slide. Another SJA underway slide. This is actually Lieutenant Amy Zajac, who was the mini judge, the number 2 legal officer on board an aircraft carrier, in this case, the Abraham Lincoln. And she's actually standing an officer of the deck watch and conning the ship, meaning she's giving the orders to the helmsman as to maneuvering the ship during an evolution. And what you can see there through the picture is an oiler on the other side of the aircraft carrier. They are proceeding through the water, probably at 12 knots in a parallel course, while the carrier is receiving fuel. Now, you might say it's a nuclear-powered carrier. Why do they need to receive fuel? That's a good question. It's fuel for the aircraft on board that ship. And that is an incredibly dangerous evolution when 2 ships are about 120 yards apart from each other, 2 warships, proceeding through the water at 12 knots. There creates like a Venturi effect. The water between the 2 ships, you have to carefully maneuver the ships so they aren't automatically pulled together and we have some sort of a collision at sea. And so what we have is a judge advocate filling that critical role at sea on board a carrier. All right, next slide. Cobra Gold, another exercise we have with our Thai allies. They're the main sponsor of this, although Cobra Gold involves other nations in Southeast Asia besides the US. We have a whole series of judge advocates from many nations in this photo. Lieutenant Commander Naku Chung and Lieutenant Marcus Leach from the Navy, Captain Rodewald from the Marine Corps. There's Army judge advocates in there. There's an Army enlisted legal specialist here, as well as Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and the Republic of Korea represented in this exercise. Another way we deter potential adversaries is to show that we maintain strong allies and partners across the globe. And it's exercises that, like Cobra Gold, that happen every year that demonstrate that to China and others. And judge advocates and legal professionals are part of this type of exercise too. All right, next slide. Order of the Blue Nose. This is Lieutenant Meredith Wales. And what you can't tell is it's really cold. If you can see some of the people in the photo, look at this person here on the left wearing a stocking cap. This is what we do when a ship crosses the Arctic Circle. There's a ceremony called the Order of the Blue Nose. It's a time-honored tradition, and they have to complete, the sailors who've never crossed over to the Arctic Circle before complete an obstacle course. They don't get to wear cold weather gear, and it's cold and kind of miserable as they're doing this. And then they have to have an audience with the King of the North before they are brought into the Order of the Blue Nose, and their noses are painted blue. And if they cross the Arctic Circle again, they don't have to repeat. So Lieutenant Meredith Wales had the unique opportunity to do this, and I'm sure she's happy it's over. All right, next slide. Staying on the cold weather theme, these are our SSC students pull-ups in the snow here in Newport. While you maybe didn't have as much snow as a typical winter, I know it was a cold one. So appreciate the motivated Marines in this one as well. Next slide. Exercise Native Fury. Here we have Captain Van Carver, a Marine judge advocate in the port of Yanbu in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I don't know about the rest of you. I've never even heard of the port of Yanbu before, right? I know we've had debates within this class about Africa and geography. We won't go there today. And here he is, part of a pre-positioning exercise in Saudi Arabia, simulating offloading pre-positioned forces with another partner, in this case, in the Middle East. All right, next slide. Another SJA underway photo. This is then Lieutenant JG Manal Chima. She was in her first tour and went aboard the USS Ronald Reagan, which is our nation's only permanently forward deployed aircraft carrier. It's deployed out of Yokosuka, right there where we need it in the Indo-Pacific AOR. She's on board doing some legal assistance for several weeks on board the Reagan, and took this photo. I love this photo because it not only shows judge advocates in their first tour at sea, but it shows the importance of the relationship we have as the Department of the Navy. Does anybody know what island that is behind her? Guess. Iwo Jima. And we just passed, I can't remember the year of the anniversary of Iwo Jima, an absolutely seminal battle in World War II, where the Marines fought hard for multiple days to take that island from the Japanese with support of the Army and the Navy. And so I just, and everyone knows the iconic photo on Mount Suribachi. So I just love this photo with Judge Advocate at Sea, Iwo Jima in the background, reminding us of the importance of our Marine Navy team and recognizing the sacrifices that took place on Iwo Jima in World War II to help turn the tide to victory for our forces. 22 Marines and 5 sailors received the Medal of Honor coming out of the Battle of Iwo Jima. All right, next slide. Freedom Shield 23. This is a true blue-green team integration. First Lieutenant Daniel Blasingame and Lieutenant Thorsten Swire, and 2 Navy officers from the Republic of Korea. They're part of an exercise in the MAGTF Ops Center there in Korea, working with an important ally in the Indo-PACOM AOR. All right, next slide. And here we go, swim call. If any of you have not participated in the swim call before, sometimes on Navy vessels, you get an opportunity to weigh anchor, stop in a calm seas, and actually jump off the ship into the water and do some swimming. And so who do we have here? We have Lieutenant Commander Wes Fisher, a former NJS instructor, taking a swim call in the Mediterranean. He was actually a strike group judge advocate, advising that flag officer who's in charge of the entire carrier strike group. And he has a message for everybody here. His message is, sea duty is the best, 4 exclamation points. So echoing my comments from yesterday. Thank you, Wes. All right. Thank you. We can go to the next slide. One more. All right. We're going across the globe. The 2 classes represented here are sending people far and wide across the globe. And that really makes me proud. All right, next slide, please. All right, I'm down to my last card. So here's what I want to say. I've got 3 final thoughts for this group and for the families. First of all, I do want to say to the families, I want to echo what Captain Record said. It takes family and friends to help these students, soon to be graduates, make it through their period of instruction. But more importantly, it's this ongoing relationship that all of us have as sailors and Marines with our families and friends that allows us to focus on the mission. So I want to thank you for your support over these last 10 weeks, but I also want to thank you now for your support of these sailors and Marines over their careers, because it allows us to do our jobs and meet the mission and ensure that we are supporting naval and joint operations worldwide. So if I could ask the students and staff to please give a round of applause to our families and friends who make that happen for us. Thank you. All right, 3 things. 1, learning and education never ends, right? And when you leave NJS, it's going to continue. Approach your new billets with a sense of humility. None of us has all the answers. All of us will be learning something every day, and that's a good thing, and help one another do the same. So 1, you're always learning. 2, resilience. We are embarking on a difficult challenge. We have difficult potential adversaries we face across the globe. We are more ready than anyone else. You are joining the most incredible fighting force the world has ever seen. Over 500,000 active duty Navy and Marine Corps Marines and sailors. But we can never rest. We have to always be ready. And a big part of that is your resilience, your mental and physical well-being. And how do we take care of ourselves? Invest in yourself and invest in each other as shipmates, because that's the only way you're going to meet the mission and take care of your families and friends along the way. So 1, always learning. 2, don't forget your mental health and well-being. And then number 3, and that can include hot yoga. I understand there's a hot yoga thing going on. Right? And number 3 is remember why we're here, right? We're here to be ready and if called upon to fight tonight and support the fleet and the warfighter, and in fact, be that warfighter as needed. So I want to read one thing for you to remind us. I read it yesterday to the BLC class, because sometimes as legal professionals, and don't forget professionals in the professions of arms, we can forget how we connect to the warfighter. Well, 1, we are the warfighter, every one of us. The CNO and the commandant would tell you that if they were here. But if you ever forget how we connect to the national security of our nation, read the preamble to the MCM, the Manual for Court Martial. Here's what it says. The purpose of military law is to promote justice, to assist in maintaining good order and discipline in the armed forces, to promote efficiency and effectiveness in the military establishment, and thereby to strengthen the national security of the United States. So we too are warfighters, no matter what role we have in our Army, our Navy, and our Marine Corps. All right, so 1, I need you to remember we're always learning. 2, take care of yourselves and your shipmates. And 3, remember what we're here for. We're unique. We wear the cloth of our nation, and we are legal professionals, and that sets us apart from those who we went to school with, whether it be high school, college, or law school. And that's special. So again, congratulations. It's a real honor for me to be here and preside over the graduation today. And I'll leave you with this. Work hard, have fun, and do good. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral. Vice Admiral Crandall will now promote the following basic lawyer course students to the rank of First Lieutenant. Students, please rise as your name is read. Second Lieutenant Ryan Bentz. Second Lieutenant Richard Bakikio. Second Lieutenant Holden Bradburn. Second Lieutenant Anthony Daly. Second Lieutenant Hannah Hughes. Second Lieutenant Christopher Jaramillo. Second Lieutenant Zachary Cosett. Second Lieutenant Ian Labatou. Second Lieutenant Cameron Lawler. Second Lieutenant Dylan Lord. Second Lieutenant Adam Mayer. Second Lieutenant Eugene McCarthy. Second Lieutenant Matthew Seifert. Second Lieutenant Bryson Youngblood. Attention to promotion.
Please raise your right hand as you be promoted and repeat after me. I state your name.
I,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
that I will
well and faithfully
well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Please be seated. We will now promote Private First Class Antonio A. Hernandez to the rank of Lance Corporal. Attention to promotion. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. Know ye that reposing special trust and confidence in the fidelity and abilities of Antonio A. Hernandez, I do appoint this Marine a Lance Corporal in the United States Marine Corps to rank as such from the 2nd day of March, 2023. This appointee will therefore carefully and diligently discharge the duties of the grade to which appointed by doing and performing all manner of things thereto pertaining. And I do strictly charge and require all personnel of lesser grade to render obedience to appropriate orders. And this appointee is to observe and follow such orders and directions as may be given from time to time by superiors acting according to the rules and regulations governing the discipline of the armed forces of the United States of America. Given under my hand at Marine Corps Detachment, Training Command, Newport, Rhode Island, this 2nd day of March, 2023. Signed, Aaron K. Berard, Lieutenant Colonel, Commanding. You may be seated. I will now announce the Lieutenant J.G. Richard Lynn Basic Lawyer Course Leadership Award. This award recognizes the individual, regardless of rank or service, who was voted by his or her peers to be the standout leader in their basic lawyer course. A leadership award was originally established in 2008 to demonstrate the importance of leadership skills for a successful career as a military attorney in the sea services. In 2017, the award was renamed to honor the memory of Lieutenant J.G. Richard Lynn, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, who received this award in March 2017. He received similar leadership and integrity awards at Officer Development School and Duke Law School, which recognized his outstanding personal and professional leadership qualities throughout his life. He set the standard for all basic lawyer course graduates to strive for in the future. A plaque in honor of Lieutenant J.G. Lynn is being presented to the winner by the Naval Justice School Foundation, as well as a book. The recipient of this award is Lieutenant Junior Grade Elizabeth Hogan, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy. We will now present the academic awards to Legal Service Specialist Course 1 TAC 23. Receiving a plaque, a certificate of commendation, and the book titled First to Fight for achieving the highest grade point average of 98.4% among the entry-level students in the Legal Service Specialist course is Lance Corporal Antonio A. Hernandez. Lance Corporal Hernandez is also receiving a book from the Naval Justice School Foundation for his academic achievement. Receiving a meritorious master for achieving the second highest grade point average of 98.2% among entry-level students in the Legal Service Specialist course is Private First Class Michael M. Kramel. Receiving a meritorious master for achieving the third highest grade point average of 97.6% among the entry-level students in the Legal Service Specialist course is Private First Class Kaylee C. Covella da Costa. Ladies and gentlemen, the honor grads of Class 1 TAC 23. Receiving a plaque and the book titled The Soldier's Load and the Mobility of a Nation for being the recipient of the Gung Ho Award, voted by his peers for the superior motivation and outstanding leadership he displayed throughout the course, is Private First Class Shar P. Daw. We will now recognize all the graduates of Basic Lawyer Class 23010 and Legal Service Specialist Course 1 TAC 23.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please hold your applause until all students' names have been called. Basic Lawyer Course 23010. Lieutenant Junior Grade Alan Amburn, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Southeast, Detachment Mayport, Florida, with honors. Lieutenant Junior Grade Matthew Beret, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Western Pacific, Yokosuka, Japan. First Lieutenant Ryan Bentz, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Base Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. Lieutenant Junior Grade Jamie Bishop, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Southeast, Detachment Pensacola, Florida. Lieutenant Junior Grade Sean Bishop, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Southeast, Jacksonville, Florida. First Lieutenant Richard Bakikio, United States Marine Corps, Marine Corps Installations Pacific, Office of the Staff Judge Advocate, Marine Corps Base Okinawa, Japan. Lieutenant Junior Grade Douglas Boyle, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office, Naval District, Washington, Washington, D.C., with honors. First Lieutenant Holden Bradburn, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia. Lieutenant Junior Grade Hamlianne Bridgman, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office, Naval District, Washington, Washington, D.C., with honors. First Lieutenant Anthony Birch, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, North Carolina. Captain Charles Patrico, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Okinawa, Japan. First Lieutenant David Cruikshank, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Base Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. First Lieutenant Anthony Daly, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, North Carolina. Lieutenant Junior Grade Regina DiMaggio, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office, Western Pacific, Yokosuka, Japan. Lieutenant Junior Grade Amanda Fasati, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Southwest, San Diego, California. First Lieutenant Rick Frybot, United States Marine Corps, Defense Services Organization, Marine Corps Base Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. Lieutenant Junior Grade Caitlin French, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Southwest, San Diego, California. First Lieutenant Abby Fryman, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Lieutenant Junior Grade Dylan Garber, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Regional Legal Service Office Southwest, San Diego, California, with honors. Lieutenant Junior Grade Benjamin Higgs, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office, Naval District, Washington, Washington, D.C. Lieutenant Junior Grade Elizabeth Hogan, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Southwest, San Diego, California. First Lieutenant Jacob Horn, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Okinawa, Japan, with honors. First Lieutenant Hannah Hughes, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center, 29 Palms, California. First Lieutenant Christopher Jaramillo, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Lieutenant Junior Grade Devon Johnson, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Northwest, Detachment Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Captain James Kim, United States Marine Corps, Defense Services Organization, Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. First Lieutenant Zachary Cosett, United States Marine Corps, Defense Services Organization, Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, California. First Lieutenant Ian Labatou, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Detachment, Marine Corps Air Station Yuma, Arizona. First Lieutenant Cameron Lawler, United States Marine Corps, Legal Service Team, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island, South Carolina. First Lieutenant Dylan Lord, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia. First Lieutenant Judah Maxwell, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia, with honors. First Lieutenant Adam Mayer, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Camp Pendleton, California. First Lieutenant Eugene McCarthy, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, North Carolina. Lieutenant Junior Grade Garvey McKee, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Mid-Atlantic, Norfolk, Virginia, with honors. Lieutenant Junior Grade Alejandro Menares, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Midwest, Great Lakes, Illinois. Lieutenant Junior Grade Corey Mullins, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Northwest, Bremerton, Washington, with honors. First Lieutenant Alexander Natarajan, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Okinawa, Japan. Lieutenant Junior Grade Michael Osborne, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Northwest, Bremerton, Washington. First Lieutenant Stephen Otto, United States Marine Corps, Defense Services Organization, Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, California. Lieutenant Junior Grade Taylor Owens, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Northwest, Detachment Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. First Lieutenant Christian Perez Figueroa, United States Marine Corps, Defense Services Organization, Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, California. Lieutenant Junior Grade Mary Catherine Rogers, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Southwest, San Diego, California, attending virtually. Lieutenant Junior Grade Whitney Roth, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Mid-Atlantic, Norfolk, Virginia. Lieutenant Junior Grade Samuel Russell, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Southeast, Detachment Pensacola, Florida. First Lieutenant Matthew Seifert, United States Marine Corps, Defense Services Organization, Marine Corps Base Quantico, Virginia. First Lieutenant Thomas Sommer, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, California. First Lieutenant Julia Stewart, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, California. Lieutenant Junior Grade Jeb Stewart, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Mid-Atlantic, Norfolk, Virginia, with honors. Lieutenant Junior Grade Bailey Williams, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Mid-Atlantic, Norfolk, Virginia. Captain Derek Woodbury, United States Marine Corps, Defense Services Organization, Marine Corps Air Station Yuma, Arizona. First Lieutenant Seth Wynn, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base Okinawa, Japan. Lieutenant Junior Grade Ashley Young, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy, Region Legal Service Office Mid-Atlantic, Norfolk, Virginia, with honors. First Lieutenant Bryson Youngblood, United States Marine Corps, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, California, with honors.
Legal Services Specialist Course, 1 TAC 23. Lance Corporal Antonio A. Hernandez, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Okinawa, Japan. Private First Class Michael M. Kramel, Marine Forces Command, Norfolk, Virginia. Private First Class Kaylee C. Covella da Costa, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Private First Class Shar P. Da, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Israel Acosta, 1st Marine Division, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Jesse A. Alarcon Nunez, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Station, Miramar, California. Private First Class Logan R. Babday, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Dylan J. Bitson, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Okinawa, Japan. Private First Class Jackson P. Bram, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Private First Class Richard Casas Jr., Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Marcus A. Contrastato, 2nd Marine Division, Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Private First Class Israel O. Flores, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Private First Class Stephen C. Flores, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Base, Kanoe Bay, Hawaii. Lance Corporal Alan Garcia, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Sergio Garcia Anguiano, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center, 29 Palms, California. Private First Class Guillermo Guerrero, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Private First Class Jair A. Hernandez Garcia, Navy Marine Corps Trial Judiciary, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Maverick C. Houston, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Private First Class Justin H. Hahn, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Okinawa, Japan. Private First Class Albert L. Bartolasa, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Sophia Kanatov, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Tyree L. Lee, Training Command, Marine Corps Base, Quantico, Virginia. Private First Class Brittany D. Lopez Guerra, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Station, Miramar, California. Private First Class Jason J. Lopez Martinez, Legal Services Support Section, Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Andrea Martinez, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center, 29 Palms, California. Private First Class Joshua M. Molden, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Private First Class Johnny Mua, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Isaac J. Mighty, Marine Corps Logistics Base, Albany, Georgia. Private First Class Jada Marie K. Porter, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Aaron J. Prempe Dixon, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Pendleton, California. Private First Class Colin J. Rapp, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point, North Carolina. Private First Class Jimmy S. Rhodes, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina. Private First Class Alicia D. Rodriguez, Legal Services Support Team, Marine Corps Base, Kanoe Bay, Hawaii. Private First Class Michael A. Russell, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Quantico, Virginia. Lance Corporal Zachary N. Mahan, Legal Services Support Section, Marine Corps Base, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Congratulations, graduates. Admiral Crandall will now administer the oath to the judge advocates to be certified as counsel at courts martial. Those officers being certified under Article 27 Bravo of the UCMJ, please rise and raise your right hand.
I state your name.
I,
You swear or affirm
do swear or affirm
that I will faithfully perform the duties
that I will faithfully perform the duties
of counsel in any court martial
of counsel in any court martial
to which I am detailed
to which I am detailed
as counsel
as counsel
or in which I participate
or in which I participate
as individual military counsel.
as individual military counsel.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Anchors Away and Marines hymn.
Maybe out to sea, fight our battle cry. We'll never change our course, so vicious foes fear shy. Roll out the TNT, boom! Anchors away. Sail on to victory and sing the most angels pray. Anchors away, my boys, anchors away. Farewell to foreign shores, we sail at break of day. Through our last night ashore, drink to the full, until we meet once more. Here's wishing you a happy voyage home. From the mighty deep, goal of God's great Son. And these our colors be till all of time be done. On 7 seas we learn, Navy's call. Faith, courage, service, true, and honor for all. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battle in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines. Our flags unfurled to every breeze, from dawn to setting sun. We have fought in every climate place where we could take a gun. In the snow of northern lands and in sunny tropic seas, you will find us always on the job, United States Marines. Here's health to you and to our corps, which we are proud to serve. In many a strife we fought for life and never lost our nerve. If the Army and the Navy ever look on heaven's scene, they will find the streets are guarded by United States Marines. Hurrah!
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the departure of the official party. This concludes today's ceremony. Congratulations. Graduates, Basic Lawyer Course 21030 and Legal Service Specialist Course 1 TAC 23. Dismissed!